Hi everyone, my name is Basely Yorobi. I'm the CEO of the Connected Global. And this amazing week is the DFC Hack. We run this amazing hackathon with amazing sponsor partners. And today it's not about me, it's about Jillian. So thanks so much for your time because you are the head of the startup program manager of Cage Entrepreneurs, and you are our sponsors, our big sponsors. And I'm thank you for that. So thank you so much for your time and for your commitment. And today we're talking about what?
Hello, Vasily. Thank you very much. I'm very glad to be here tonight with you. And tonight we will be speaking about design thinking on market validation. It's a big issue for you in a hackathon, and it will be, of course, main criteria of the jury you will face on Sunday night. So let's go for it.
Cool. So this live is for all people, all followers of Connectase, and also the participants. So just do it, and then I will disappear because like it's a very concrete workshops. And thanks so much for that. Is also public because we want to have more people to have this knowledge. Thanks so much for your time. I will be back at the end. So see you. Thanks.
Thank you, Vasily. Thank you. So great. We will start with a little presentation of who am I and Cage. So Vasily, you can next. Yep. Thank you. So my name is Julian. I work for Cage Business School. I will explain who we are in a few slides. I work since 2 years for incubation programs. I worked in a school lab, which is one of the major incubator in Paris. And I launched the incubator of school lab in Vietnam, in Ho Chi Minh City. And I worked since 1 year for Cage Business School, for who I'm launching the digital incubation program, digital incubator, in which the winner of the competition will have 6 months incubation. So it's allow us to follow you wherever you are in Europe or in Africa, because it's a digital incubator for sure. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on Twitter or add me on LinkedIn, and you can follow Cage Entrepreneurship on Facebook. For the next slide, I will give you a more detailed presentation of Cage Business School. So Cage Business School is a top 10 business school in France. We have actually 12,000 students and more than 70,000 alumni in the group. We have 7 campuses, with 2 campuses in China, 1 campus in Dakar, Senegal, and the other campus are in France, Bordeaux, Marseille, Toulon, of course, Paris, because we are in the capital. We are the 35th best business school in Europe and the 38th best MBA in the world, and we are first in entrepreneurship in the last classement. For the next slide, I wanted to present you our ecosystem and how we involve in entrepreneurship in Cage. The real strength of a business school is that we have a lot of initiative we can conglomerate, and we can help our entrepreneurs with them. So for example, we have a design school that allow our startups to prototype, to print in 3 days, and to test very fast their idea. We have our alumni networks that allow to find mentor and to go faster in the B2B approach, and to find some POC with big groups. We have some research, because we have more than 160 researcher teachers, and we have some teachers who do research on entrepreneurship. And we have a business nursery, the incubator of Cage Business School, 3, 1 in Bordeaux, 1 in Marseille, 1 in Toulon, and the 4th is the digital incubator that I am leading for Cage. On the next slide, I wanted to share with you our main partners. So we have a lot of partners with for example, Google Cloud for Startups, which is very useful if you want to have some cloud for free, if you want to have a Gmail address for free. We have, of course, Amazon Web Services, which is very useful for clouding, of course. And we are partner with main initiative with VC, Venture Catalyst, Capon Invest, which is very well known in France, LIA Ventures. So we have a strong strong partnership with the French startup ecosystem. Then I wanted to show you some key figures. Alors, it's in French, sorry, but I will translate some for you. At first, our startup have raised more than 13 millions of euros since 5 years. We have more than 140 business angels that invest every year in our startups. Each year, we provide to our startups more than 300 hours of coaching. We have coached in all kind of needs: marketing, sales, growth hacking, legal, attorney, etc., etc. And we have, of course, some research, etc., etc. I will continue briefly on Cage. We have some spaces dedicated for entrepreneurship in Marseille, of course, in Bordeaux, but in Paris. We are launching 40 meters square in Paris. We are in the 12th arrondissement, like we say in French. And all these spaces are spaces when we meet some startups with some big groups, companies, students, and we mix all this kind of population to foster innovation and foster entrepreneurship at the end of the day. Just a little map of our campuses. Bordeaux, Marseille, Toulon, for those who are not French, to have you just in mind where we are in France, and Paris, of course. And I wanted now to show you more in detail what is the content of the incubation program you will maybe win on Sunday. So at first, you have to know that we are the first business school who has launched a digital incubator in higher education. This digital incubator allows us to follow all our community wherever they are in the world in the creation of their companies. We have three main axes, which are very important for us because it's the DNA of the school. The first is the BU approach. We are looking for people who are hardly motivated, but what they do. And we are looking for people who are aligned with themselves. It's very important. And as I already told you, the first question I will ask to you on the jury is, why are you doing it? What is your inner motivation to do it? It's very important. Then it is not because we are in digital, we have a very important sense of the collective. People work together, we have peer-to-peer between the startups, and it's very important for us. And the third part, you can stay here, Basli, is the CSR. All our startups know their impact on the earth because they are trained on it, and it's very important today when you are an entrepreneur to have this responsibility to know what is your impact on the planet. The program is a 6 months incubation program. We have a workshop every week, workshop which are very practice. All the startups who do this workshop come back at home with some very practice insights to test on this project. It's very important for us. We have, of course, one-to-one meeting with coach and experts. It's very useful for the startups. And at the end of the 6 months, we have a crash test with a pitch, of course, to be sure all the things have been done on your roadmap, because entrepreneurship is at first about acting. And for the next slide, let's see if you can top, I will start with an introduction on the design thinking methodology. So there is a very famous quote, very well known in the Silicon Valley, which is, "Your solution is not my fucking problem." This is a quote that has been said by David McClure, which is the CEO of 500 startups, a worldwide network of accelerator in the world. And he said this sentence in a very particular moment. He was hearing a pitch of startups, and all the pitch he heard was very about personal projects, about just ideas. But all these people haven't taken the time to hear their users to understand if it was or not a real problem. And he was very angry about that. And he said in the jury, "Your solution is not my fucking problem." And that sentence is one of the base of the design thinking, because the design thinking approach is a very empathic, based on the need of your potential future users. It's very important. I wanted to show you two examples of companies, big companies. Bunchshot belongs to Facebook. Google Glass belongs to Google, of course. To show you that even big companies sometimes fail because they don't develop in the uses of the users. Bunchshot, it was the project of Facebook to launch a clone of LinkedIn. They wanted to do the same as LinkedIn. They launched directly in 2010, and they had in 2 months 57 million users, because they do a lot of acquisition, $50 million raised. But in 2013, not in 2010, there were 0 users. Why? Because they launched just with an idea, and they didn't validate the need and the uses of their potential clients. And that's why Bunchshot was a fail. This is quasi the same story for Google Glass. Google Glass, they launched in 2011, a lot of money in prevision, etc. And at the end of the day, and I think everyone know in this classroom the story of the Google Glass, it was a big fail because it wasn't produced, created on the uses of their clients. And this is the epitome of what you mustn't do in an hackathon or in a company creation. Another example is orange juice of Philip Stark. If you can next the slide, Bartley. The orange juice of Philip Stark is a very beautiful orange juice that Halo eats, but it's not useful at all. And you have a beautiful picture, but it has been never used because you can't use it. It's a very it's not useful, and it went to a museum, and it's not used because it hasn't been tested. It has just been created to be beautiful, to be broadcast in some magazine, but when you use it, you can't use it. So it's the example of what is not design thinking. Another example is the liftware. The liftware has been it's a spoon. It has been designed for people who have Parkinson, people who have hand shaking problems, and this spoon allows people to eat correctly. And here you can see it's a real need, and that's why the liftware meets its clients, of course. So at the end of the day, that's what is design thinking. Design thinking, it has been thought in the early 20s in Stanford University. It was the idea that you have to start by observation, understand who is your user, what are their uses, in how they behave is very important. And that with this observation part, that you can prototype, create an MVP, and then go to market, take feedback, and create your product with your users. It's a very empathic approach when you have to take in mind to replace your user and understand what are his motivation, what is his feeling, to be sure your product, your offer will suit your customer the best as it can be. For the next slide, we will speak, of course, of the methodology. At first, of course, I think a lot of people know it, but there is a feedback loop. Everything you do, you have, of course, to launch it, but then to measure. Okay, those people are Is it useful for them or not? Are they satisfied or not by my product or not? And all you do, you have to measure, to build, to launch, and then to iterate. The keyword here is iterate on what you do. It's very important. It's allow to fit often and to fit always the market's need and your users' need. For the next slide, just a book which is one of the best sellers of the design thinking. I think a lot of people know it here. It's The Running Lean by Ash Moria, and you will find all the methodology of market validation detailed in 300 pages. It's very, very interesting. You should read it. It will help you a lot if you are curious about it. But now, let's take some practice, some methodology that you can test now during the hackathon that will allow you to be sure that your product, your offer will suit a real problem of your users. So, Basley, just if you can next the slide. At first, there is the stakeholder map. Stakeholder map is to understand who are the people in the business and who are the customers and who are the direct and indirect stakeholders. But just on the next slide, we will show a concrete example. So in the core target group, there is your client. Your client is basically the people who pay. Sometimes the user is not the client. So you have to be very careful. We are interested by the clients, the people who pay, not the user, the client. And you have to ask you, in the user experience of my client, who are the people he will meet directly, or who are the people who are important for the business, but that he will never meet. For example, if I am in Starbucks, I am the client of the Starbucks. In my user experience, I will meet directly the people who do the coffee, maybe the maid who are cleaning the space. But maybe I will never meet the director of Starbucks. I will never meet the providers of Starbucks. But these people are very important for the business, and you have to have them in mind because it will be tomorrow, if coffee is your business, stakeholders of your business. Then, when you have identified all the stakeholders, you will work on the user's interview based on the problem. If you can come back, Basley, thank you. These user interviews are very important. The idea is to come if you have an idea of problem and to be sure it's a real problem. So let's take an example. I will meet someone. I say, okay, hello. I have seen that a lot of people have this problem in society. Do you have this problem or not? Yes or no? And if the people say yes, you will ask why. If the people say no, you will ask why. And you will ask why 5th time. The idea is to have the inner reason of the uses of the people. Okay, I don't do it. Why? Because I don't have time. Okay, why don't you have time? Because I have some children. Okay, and here I have the inner reason of the use. So ask why as much as possible. You will have a lot of insights by asking why. At the end of this interview, never forget to keep in touch. You will meet people. They will take 20, 25 minutes, 30 minutes with you. These are people who are at least a little bit interested by your project. And maybe they can become beta testers, users, and maybe tomorrow clients. So take time to give information to give them information, to send them email, to send them follow up, and maybe you will convert them as clients when you will launch your product, launch your offer. So you take time to meet these people. So it's very important to build this community and to keep this community in touch. Who will you meet for these interviews? But all the people you will have seen in the stakeholder map. The more important, of course, is the client. So 60% of your interviews will be about the client. And then you will interview the direct stakeholders. So the people who work in the shop, the people who are directly in contact with the clients. And you will learn with them a lot of insights. So take time, it's very useful. Then, a very common question I have is, okay, Julien, it's very interesting to do all of this, and I'm sure it's very important, but I don't know how to reach these people. How can I meet these people? How can I have these insights? At first, my first advice would be to to meet people and to say, hello, I am a startup. I'm very surprised. I'm very impressed but what you do. I'm very impressed by your experience, and regarding your amazing experience, I would like to meet you to have your feedback. And if you say it, if you glorify people, people will answer you. First advice. Second advice, follow up. See if the people don't answer to your first mail, ask a second mail, call the people, and you will see people are not so much hungry. So people are more of the time very happy to help you. Okay, so it's just on this base. You will ask me, okay, but how can I have their email? How can I have their phone number? You have some tools that will allow you to go faster. Of course, the first one is LinkedIn, because everybody is on LinkedIn. You can find a lot of people, and it's the first step. Then, if you find the people on LinkedIn, you have some plugins who are very useful. Lucha, Rocket Search, these are plugins that allow you to find the mail of the people on LinkedIn, and sometimes find the phone number of the people. And here you will have very important information, but to call them, to make an email, and to enter in contact with them. It's very, very useful. There is also hunter.io, that allow to find mail. So you have the tools, you have the way to do it, to speak to people, say, hello, I am a startup, I'm very impressed by who you are. I will be very honored to have your feedback. If you adopt this approach, you will have generally a lot of answers, and you will be able to have these feedbacks. Okay, so the idea is to work on this, to have 25, 30 feedbacks of key users, of key direct stakeholders. And when you will have all this feedback, you will see what are the needs, what are the more common pains, what are the more common problems who are coming back from these interviews. And with all this work, you will be able at first to design, to see who is your buyer persona. Your buyer persona, what is his name? What is his age in average? Is it a young people? Is it the old people? Where he live? What is his typical day? His motivation? And the most important is about the frustration. What these people can do, and how will you help these people to do it? That's the reason why I wanted to show you the journey map on the next slide, lastly. Thank you. So the journey map is about the typical journey of your persona. So imagine I go to Starbucks. I will start my journey map with a shining smiley, because I'm very happy to go to Starbucks. I like the coffee, etc., etc. But then sometimes you have to wait a lot to be delivered on Starbucks. And then, in my user experience, I will decrease. I will be unhappy because I had to wait 5, 6, 7 minutes to be delivered on my coffee. And then, at the end of the day, when I will leave Starbucks, I will be quite neutral, because I was happy at first to go to Starbucks, but then I had to wait a lot, and my user experience is not so good. So if you see here, I have to wait too long. This is the bad point, the challenging point of the user experience. the question you have to ask is, how can I improve my user experience? How can I decrease the waiting time in Starbucks in order to improve the user experience of my clients? So think in your case about the user experience nowadays without your solution. What is the problem of the people? So they start, okay, there is a problem because they don't have solution for the moment. And how will you answer this pain? What is the pain on the user experience? It's very important to find it, understand it, and then of course to face it and to find a solution on the user experience. And the last slide is it's a complex question. You can already have this complex question in mind because you launch your project and we all have an idea of what is the problem. But the idea is that with all this work, with all these interviews, the people you will have meet, with the insights you will have from these users, you will have a problem which is validated, a problem which is validated. So it's basically very simple. How can we help someone to improve something in order to, okay? So you can nowadays say, I think that the problem is how can we help all peoples to improve the marketing in order to blah blah blah. Okay, but the idea is to say this is my idea for the moment. I have to see if it's a real problem or not. So that is the work you have to do. So it's quite all for me. It's a work which is very important, but because you will win time, it seems very hard. There is a lot of work on it. But if you do correctly this work, you will have a problem which is validated. And then if it's strongly validated, you will be able to create a solution, and your solution will directly answer to the problem, and you will be in a product market fit approach, which is the most important. So thank you for all, and see you on Sunday nights for the jury. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Julian. It was very good to have you here. For all people who want to follow Julian Sample, Julian Dupont, One, and Julian Dupont and Cat Entrepreneurships, and yeah, so very cool. So thanks so much for your attention. Thanks so much for your time, Julian. So I have some question for you before I left you because I know you are busy. So the first question is: so the prize you give for the hackathon is real? Is not a joke, right? It's like
Yeah, okay, for sure. 6
because
months.
many people say, "Oh, you say 6 months," because you know in many competition people give 3 months, 2 months. And you tell me all the time, "Hey, basically we don't do the same thing as all people. We do right thing, right?"
For sure. So yeah, it will be 6 months, and it will start in November. So on Sunday night, I will have the name, and we have an incoming class on Tuesday. So in Tuesday, you can be with us.
Okay, that means you are focused just on European and African entrepreneur. That means if I'm in Ivory Coast and I win, I can be a part of the incubator. If I'm in Europe too, I can be a part of this incubator, right?
If whenever you are in Europe and in Africa, yeah, you can follow the digital incubator. Yeah.
Cool. So thanks so much again for your time. Thanks so much for all the people. I will share some link right now. So join us on if you are not in the on the Discord right now, you can join the Discord right now. Very important. Also, Julian, and you are not there again on the Discord. You can join the Discord too. It could be very cool. So also tweet, very important. Tweet and mention Cage Entrepreneurs, Connectus Global, Dfc Act. This is our hashtag. So thanks so much, and a blessed night to you, and bye bye.
Thank you, Wesley. Bye bye.